Okay, be careful! Rich people's toes are worth 2 of our toes.
Another week, another new episode of Bob's Burgers. This one being the Halloween special, Escape from Witch Mountain? That's a great title. This was a fish odor focused episode, even bringing back the best characters from the best Christmas special. And it really got me thinking about fish odor's role in the show and how they've used him over the years. So I kind of want to use this video to talk about that. I think it's an interesting topic, and I like talking about Bob's Burgers, so let's do it. Before we get into that, though, let's quickly talk about the episode itself. It's pretty good. Gorgeous, though. This is like the best looking episode of the season by far, probably. Lots of good shots, lots of good colors. The scene where they're all high and howling at the moon is really well animated. I think this one highlights Bob and Fish Odor's interesting relationship really well with their kind of love-hate bond. It's one of the most fun dynamics in the show, and I'm glad it continues to get focused. This is the first crazy Fish Odor episode since, like, well, I guess last season with the April Fool's Day one, huh? The subplot with Linda teaching the kids how to be classy party guests was pretty funny, and it made me laugh a couple times. Plus, I don't know what I expected, but it turning into a monster story was not one of them. Is that, like, grammatically correct? Whatever. Definitely one of their most unhinged episodes. It felt like something straight out of season 3. Fish Odor is such an interesting character to me to talk about because, like, he's the main antagonist of the series, but he really doesn't have any resentment towards Bob at all. In fact, he actually really likes Bob, and I always found that a very interesting dynamic. Plus, like, I mean, even though Fish Odor always gets Bob into these really horrible situations, like the aforementioned Christmas special, he still, like, does it because he respects Bob to an extent. He chooses Bob for all these things, and I think that's interesting. Bob's Burgers, since the beginning, has always been about, like, a struggling, poor, family-owned business, so I think it's interesting how they use Fish Odor and how they use the other rich people in the series. Like, yeah, with a premise like that, it's not surprising that the rich people are often antagonists. But I just think it's interesting how Fish Odor is fleshed out in comparison to other shows with rich antagonists. See, what makes Mr. Fish Odor so unique is that he's simultaneously more layered than most rich antagonists, while also being less layered than most rich antagonists. Because on the one hand, he has a genuine connection with Bob and a genuine sort of friendship with him. But on the other hand, he is one of the most cartoonish rich people I've ever seen with his shenanigans. He forces his tenants to play water balloons to pay rent. He's got a secret gingerbread cult under his house. He mentions arson like every other episode he's in. The whole April Fool's Day episode. I mean, heck, the Bob's Burgers movie itself is about someone who's so fed up with his shenanigans that he wants to freaking murder him. That's actually another good point. Mr. Fish Odor's annoying actions directly motivate the villain of the Bob's Burgers movie. But there's also just a lot of sweet moments with Mr. Fish Odor. I love this one in the Christmas episode.
You know, Bob, that family of yours, they're lucky to have you.
Thanks, Mr. Fish Odor.
Okay, now you say something nice about me.
You have pretty eye.
Sounds like a line, Bob, but Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Fish Odor.
Honestly, that Christmas episode is one of my favorites of the whole show. Like if you want to see me rank every Bob's Burgers episode! But the genuine part of Fish Odor is there, and it's not something the show pretends doesn't exist. It's there, it's prominent. And Escape from Witch Mountain kind of feels like the coming together of these two parts of Fish Odor. This is a ridiculous story with a ridiculous plot, but also has a lot of really sweet Fish Odor moments. And this sort of commentary / dynamic goes further than just Bob's Burgers. Allow me to introduce you to Bob's Burgers' sister series, Central. Not enough people are watching this thing. Now this show got the rich people commentary down to a more realistic status. This show focuses on the Tillerman family who live in Central Park because Owen, the dad, is the manager of Central Park. And the villain of the show is Bitsy Brandenham, a rich heiress who wants to buy and renovate Central Park. Though even here, it's made very clear that Bitsy is just kind of a sad person with deep insecurities. The real antagonist of the show is honestly her brother Ambrose, who bullied her as a child. Central Park's The Shadow is one of the best Lauren Bouchard episodes of all time, and everyone needs to go watch Central Park right now. It's on Apple Plus, which is probably why you've never heard of it. Thanks. Anyway, yeah, another great episode out of a great season. This one definitely warranted its own video because I just thought it was interesting to talk about Fish Odor. But you know, the more Fish Odor episodes that pass, the more I wonder, is the show ever gonna bring back Grover? I mean, now that we know he's psychotic and evil, like, he needs to come back at some time, right? Like, come on, it would be perfect. He should run for mayor and try to kill the family or something. I don't know. Next episode is a Little King Trashmouth focused episode. Okay. I reviewed all the episodes I missed last week. Go watch that. Okay. Bye.